Every single Sunday, my 12-year-old son says, Mom, can we please have somebody over to dinner? As we're heading out the door to church, Mom, can we please have somebody over to dinner? As we get home from church, Mom, can we please have somebody over to dinner? They love having people over to dinner, and I think it's because I pull out all of the stops. We're all in happy moods, our house is clean, we have an amazing spread on the table, and it's always nice to be enveloped and surrounded by people that we absolutely love. And I have felt that very same way over these last several weeks as I've prepared meals for this competition at therealwomenofphiladelphia.com. I am so grateful to Paula and to Philadelphia and to all of my friends that I've met and those of you who are stopping in to watch my video. Thank you so much for making it feel like we're having people over to dinner. I've been able to pull out some of my favorite recipes, put together some of my favorite ingredients, and it really has felt like we're having company every day of the week, and I love that. So welcome to my house, and I'm so glad to have you over for dinner. I'm going to show you how to make my favorite little cream cheese and shells pasta. And I've pulled out a couple of pasta dishes this week for entree week because I'm almost always feeding a crowd. Even if we're not having friends over for dinner or for a meal on Sunday, there are 6 people in my family. I have 4 kids, and so I'm always looking for a way to inexpensively but really beautifully feed them. And so this meal is great for that. First off, speaking of inexpensive, this recipe is going to call for a single breast of chicken, and my secret to that is that I've actually just went to the deli counter at my grocery store and asked them for a single breast of baked chicken. You know, they have the fried chicken and I just got baked. And so I'm just going to take that skin off and then dice it up and throw it in a pot. And you want to dice it fairly small because you're going to fill these shells, and the shells are, we're going to fill pasta shells, and the shells are kind of tiny, and so you don't want to have, you know, big old hunks of chicken that don't fit into your pasta shells. But that's a single breast of chicken, and of course I love that too because often meat is the most expensive part of our meal, and so when I'm feeding a crowd, if I can find a way to extend that meat to feed everyone and fill everyone up, that's wonderful. So breast of chicken goes right in there, and 8 ounces of Philly cream cheese. You are just going to use the entire thing of it because we want all of that creaminess, all of that beautiful base that's also going to act as a great binder and filler for our pasta because it is thick enough to hold together in the shells. And so love the Philly. And then I'm going to put about a 1/3 cup or a 1/2 cup of artichoke hearts. And again, I just rated our deli counter has a olive bar and they have artichoke hearts there. And so I just bought as much as I needed, and no need to go and buy a big old case of this if you're not going to use these artichoke hearts. But these marinated artichoke hearts, I love the flavor of them, and to this recipe they just lend this beautiful light green color and texture, and it's wonderful. That goes in with our Philly, in with our chicken. I'm going to dice up some basil. If you have fresh basil, go ahead and throw a bunch of that in. Or if you'd like to sneak some veggies into this meal, dice up some spinach. That is so the way to go. And I just cut it nice and small because then the kids can't pick it out and they get their secret dose of veggies. So that's all going to go in that pot too. And then a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. If you have a Parmesan Romano mix too, that would be fine. And I'm just going to mix that all together. And okay, I love this meal. I love it. I love preparing it. I love that you don't have to really heat up the stove. Now the only thing that you do have to do is prepare your pasta shells ahead of time. And just get a big old box of pasta shells, throw them in a pot with a bunch of water, a little bit of salt, a dash of olive oil. And when you do that, some of the pasta shells, you've got to be careful not to overcook them, but not all of the pasta shells are going to get filled, and that's okay because not all of those pasta shells are going to come out working because some of them get ripped and torn. So even though we won't have enough filling to fill all of the pasta shells, I think that it's worth it to just, you know, cook the whole batch of them. Then you're not angry when some of them don't work and then you're left with a couple of shells that you don't need. I'm going to put some pepper and a little bit of salt in here. A lot of pepper, but I like pepper. And my son likes pepper, the one who's always asking for people to come over. So if you don't like freshly ground pepper, that's okay. You don't have to put it in, but I like the additional little kick of flavor that it gives. Okay, now that part is done, and in just about 2 seconds, we're going to fill the pasta shells. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is make a little drizzle sauce. It's kind of like a flavor infused olive oil. I'm going to put about I've got about a third cup here of sun-dried tomatoes, also taken from the olive bar at our grocery store, so really inexpensive. I'm going to pull off a bunch of rosemary leaves, about 2 tablespoons, and then 2 tablespoons of garlic, a little bit of salt again, and then I'll just drizzle in some olive oil, and the olive oil is going to take all of the flavors from this. I'm going to put in about a half cup, maybe a little bit less, but a half cup is good. Stick it in a blender, all of that stuff in a blender, and then just blend it up to mix it. You don't need it pureed. You just want it to be nice and blended so that you don't have giant chunks of tomatoes going over your meal. All right, now we have everything ready, and this is the fun part because we've got our box of pasta shells, and I am going to just start filling them up. I have a fork here, and I'm just going to open them up gently, fill them up a little bit, and they're so cute. Just love them. And then I'm going to stick them in a pan that I've actually sprayed with nonstick because I just wanted a little bit of nonstick cooking spray to keep these pasta shells from sticking. Once you get these all filled up and get them sitting in there and quite happily sitting up and ready to be baked, then you're going to drizzle your sun-dried tomato sauce, the sun-dried tomato infused oil, right over the top. And there's going to be a couple of little bloppy things, that's okay. This is going to help when we bake them. We only just have to bake them for a few minutes on really high heat because we don't want the outside of the pasta to get hard or crunchy, but we want the inside Parmesan cheese to get gooey and melty, and that cream cheese to just wrap itself around everything. It's going to be wonderful. So I'm going to fill up my plate and stick it in the oven at 425 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. You might need 12 minutes, but just enough time to heat them up, and then they'll be ready in just a minute. And just like that, we're ready. So here we go. My kitchen smells amazing, and it looks so pretty. Wow, dinner is served. I'm just going to put a couple of shells on each plate. I paired it today with some salad. I thought a little bit of salad with pear and blackberry and pecan and a nice vinaigrette would go well. And of course, crusty French bread, because that makes everything better. I hope that if you make this in your kitchen, you will like it as much as we enjoy it in my kitchen. And thank you so much for coming over to dinner tonight. My kids are going to be so excited that we have guests. And for now, it's time to taste test. It's so good. Thank you, Philadelphia cream cheese. It really makes the flavor and texture of this meal stupendous and superb and totally company worthy. So happy dinner eating and enjoy. Bye-bye.